Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, and every single week I am here exploring topics to help you elevate your mindset and be at your best and radically expand your life and business. And today I am talking about habits and how you can change yours. This is an amazing, amazing topic, and I'm so excited for it because it's something that one of our community members has asked about. So she's like, "Do you have anything about habits?" And I know I've probably talked about it before, but it has been a while. So a lot has changed in terms of my mindset and perception in this area. And habits are so, so key to our success. So if you have some habits that you'd like to change that you think are holding you back and just keep you getting stuck, maybe you've tried to change them and haven't been able to, today is for you. And I know that some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm Larissa McCook. I'm a master results coach and CEO of Abundance Academy, where we help high achieving women uncover their deepest desires and what they're truly capable of and empower them to do it so that they can unapologetically have a life and business they want and love. So I would love to know where you're coming in from. So tell me where you're coming in from. If you're tuning in by replay, type in replay in the chat. And if it's your first time here, type in first time in the chat so my team and I can welcome you here. And I truly do thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I appreciate your presence, whether live or by replay, because this information matters. And if you get something from it, I want you to get one thing, one takeaway from today. Take it and run with it. And if you take it and run with it and impact one other person and one other person and one other person, that really is when the magic can and does happen. So, back in high school, back in high school, I remember that people used to talk about being healthy and getting in shape. And I never really understood the hype about it. I mean, my mom went on a few workout and diet programs, but one day something got into me that just made me decide that I should work out and I wanted to get rid of my jiggle. Okay, at 16, didn't have a lot of jiggle, but wanted to get rid of my jiggle. So this is the first time in my life I actually decided to start working out. Okay. And when I started working out, I thought running would be a good idea. Okay. I had never really done it before other than in gym class. And when I was in gym class, I didn't really love it, but people thought it was exercise. In the magazines, they said it was exercise. So I'm like, okay, this is what people do to work out, to lose jiggle. Sure, I'll try it. Had no basis on my decision. And knowing what I know now, that was not the right decision to make. However, I also decided to work out 5 days a week, going from 0 to 5 with no context. Well, I remember my second day of running and I'm like trying to work out. I do some exercises from gym class. They didn't work very well. And then I started running and I made it a few blocks and the sweat didn't feel good. I really had no idea why people were doing this. My chest felt like it was going to burst out. Like the breath, I was breathing so hard. It didn't feel good. I was like, my chest is going to burst open. And needless to say, my running career at the time ended after those 2 days. Okay. I made it a few blocks, walked, tried to run. It was not a pretty sight. Flash forward to my late 20s, and I had just moved to Toronto. I joined a dance company because I'd been dancing since I was 4 years old, but I never considered that exercise. And when I was an adult, I joined a dance company to meet new people. I'm like, well, I want to dance because what else am I going to do? I'm just going to sit at home by myself. We rehearsed 2 times a week for about 2.5 to 3 hours a night. And I was also working in a Pilates studio where I attended regular classes. I would teach classes, and I was just always moving. And I never did the classes to work out. I just found them really exciting, really stimulating. Being a new instructor, it was fascinating to find new class plans. And I thought it was fun. And I also never really considered that a workout for myself. I know people came to work out, but that was never a workout. So naturally, I started moving every day. And at that point, I was actually in the best shape of my life, never worrying about my jiggle because I didn't have to. It was just something that was a part of my everyday. So, why am I sharing this with you? Because we're talking about habits. And oftentimes, when you think of habits, you think of changing bad ones and creating new ones. And there are some vital steps that you have probably missed. And I want to talk about those today. So, just so you think about this for yourself and make this really relevant for yourself, I want you to pop in the chat. What are some habits that you have going on in your life that you would like to change? I would love to know, even if you're tuning in by replay. What are some habits that you would love to change in your life? Okay, so pop them in the chat and think about them as I expand your horizons and talk about this in a different context for you. Okay. So, procrastination. Yes, my book is about procrastination. My book is Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away. Yes, procrastination is definitely a habit. And notice if you procrastinate on one thing or many things. Okay. So chances are there's things that you don't procrastinate on, and there are certain types of things that you do procrastinate on. Make sure you really identify what those are. Okay. Maybe they're in certain areas of your life or certain tasks that you just don't like doing. And I want you to think like, would you like to change the bad habits that you have in your life and replace them with good ones? What if your story that changing habits is hard can turn into changing habits is easy and fun? What if you could tell yourself that story more of the time? And just imagine the remarkable results you could have when these habits do change over time. Whether it's procrastination, whether it's your movement patterns, whether it's eating, whether it's certain habits in your business. And I think so often we have habits that we want to change and we may not identify them right away. So, again, if there's habits that you want to change, as I'm talking, write them down in the chat. So, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about changing habits and what you want to know about them. Now, in lesson 2 of our Thinking into Results program, we have an entire lesson that we work with in terms of habits. We teach this within the Abundance Accelerator program because habits are so critical and so important. And I know a couple of you have had access to the program. So if you do have access to it, I want you to go back to lesson 2 because that is going to be a game changer for you. Now, the other thing that you want to look at and know is a habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice. It's one that's typically hard to give up. It's a routine or a practice that's performed regularly. It's kind of that automatic response to a specific situation. And that's why I asked, do you procrastinate in every area or just in some areas? Because it's not usually habit is not about a big generic concept. Habits are more specific, okay? More specific than just procrastination. You're procrastinating on one particular type of thing. Okay? So Aristotle and the ancient Greeks, they recognized the importance of habit for the constitution of character, right? The inner character. And it's been a conceptual framework for so many key figures in history and in philosophy. Back in 2012, there's 2 resources I want to just point you towards. Charles Duhigg wrote The Power of Habit, and this is a great book. It's got so many great juicy things in there, and he talks about why we do what we do in life and business. Okay, so he wrote an entire book on habit, and this was considered like the Bible of habits back in 2012. More recently, James Clear has written Atomic Habits, and he's really expanded on the work that Charles had put together based on his own experiences, and he's become a habit specialist. So if you have not read this book, get it. It's on Audible. You can buy it. Just this is an absolute essential in your library. Okay. And I'm going to touch on some of the concepts that James talks about in his book. But even before that, what I want you to know, okay, what I want you to know is that the habits you have are in the depths of your unconscious mind. The habits that you have are not in your conscious realm of awareness. You may be aware of some of them, but as you do them, because they're automatic responses, these are things that are ticking along in the background. So anything that happens automatically, like your heartbeat, how your blood gets pumped throughout your body, how your food digests, that's all controlled by your unconscious mind. And the habits that you have that are truly ingrained in you, they are also unconscious because they are automatic. So often, what we try to do is we recognize these habits consciously and we forget that they're an unconscious automatic response. And so, when you try to change an unconscious behavior or response in a conscious way, generally there's more struggle, there's more difficulty, and you're missing some key parts of the process. So the easiest way to change a habit is through unconscious methods. And that can be done, I mean, that can often be done with, like in timeline not in timeline therapy, but in certain NLP techniques. Even with timeline therapy, certain beliefs that you have that might be controlling the habits that you do, they when you clear those beliefs, those limitations that you have, your habits have a way of just changing and disappearing. We do have other specific NLP techniques that are geared towards habits, and one of the things that I think one of the best ways to unconsciously change your habits is by changing and shifting your identity. Now, the identity you have and the identity you hold is going to dictate the habits that you do. A healthy person, right? A healthy person, they drink water. They move their body. They eat a certain way. This is part of the identity. And when you start looking at really what you want out of life, when you start looking at who you are in life and who you really want to be at your best, and start becoming that person, your habits are going to naturally start shifting. So often people look too low, right? When you change habits, you will feel more satisfied and fulfilled. You will get more done in less time. You will be operating in your flow. But if you're looking at the level of the habit, right? It's almost like you're looking at the bottom stair. You don't have a good foundation for that. You're looking at the tiniest piece, where when you look at the bigger picture, it's going to dictate how you show up in life. So you want to look at what's actually causing the challenges in your habit. Look at what's really behind it. Why is this habit happening? And chances are it's probably not in the alignment with the life you desire. And what I've come to realize, we actually run a vision casting workshop. And what I've come to realize is when you think you know the life you desire, and don't have quite enough clarity on it, it's this vague, ambiguous concept that leaves, it's almost like a colander, right? When you strain your pasta, there's little holes in the colander, and it's almost like you have little leaky holes in your vision because it's not clear enough. Even the people that think they're clear need more guidance, and it's so important to take the time to create this vision that you have for your life and for your future. It's so important that once you have your vision, that you really think about who you want to be to carry that vision out. Who is you at your best in your ideal life? What is the self-image that you embody? When you take care of those two things and start living your vision and start focusing on who you want to be and how you show up in this world, you're going to notice that a lot of the habits that are causing you problems are probably going to naturally disappear, and it's a non-issue. At that point, after you've done a beautiful life vision, after you've really taken the time to think about who you want to be and how you want to show up, and you've practiced this, if there are still habits, then I would suggest go through James's book in depth. Okay? I'm going to give you some tips, but go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Okay. And you can look at strategies at that point. However, if you don't have anything compelling to base your strategies on, then you're going to be putting so much effort into changing something and you won't have a good enough reason. It's going to be hard to make habit changing easy, to make it attractive, to make it fun. You need something bigger and more compelling to work towards. So when you're changing a habit, let's say at the habit level, when you've got this big picture of what you want, who you want to be, and you're like, yeah, there's still a few things that I'm really not doing elegantly and I would like to change. I know where I'm going. I'm practicing this every day, and maybe I just can't get up as early as I'd like, and I know if I got up early, I'd be able to do one, two, three, ABC. Okay. I'd be able to journal. I'd be able to do my mindset routine. I'd be able to work out. And I know that would set me up for success. That's something my future self would do. So then you can work on that actual habit. Okay. The habits that you work on, you want to make really, really purposeful, because you don't want to change like 10 habits at once. You change like one or two at a time, and you make sure they're the most important ones. So when changing a habit, you're going to stop doing something and replace it with something else that will serve you. Okay, you don't want to stop doing something and not replace it. And you want to also make these habits obvious. You want to make this when changing this habit, you want to make something really obvious in your physical environment. So for example, if you want to wake up earlier and go for a run, you put your clothes, your exercise clothes right by the bed, or maybe get them ready in the bathroom. Perhaps you'll put your alarm on really, really loud in the other room, so you have to spring out of bed. And once you're out of bed, you can get up. Okay. So make it really obvious. Set your environment up for success. If you want to get up earlier to do a morning routine, have everything laid out and ready to go. Okay. So these are examples of making it really obvious. Make it attractive, right? Do things that are irresistible and you'll want to do more. Maybe working out with friends, setting co-working dates. I know that sometimes some of my clients and some colleagues and we like to just go on Zoom and not even talk to each other. We literally just spend the time working, but we're next to one another. Or you can go to a co-working space. That becomes more irresistible and attractive because you have the power of people. So when you make it attractive, then it's going to be more desirable. Make it easy. You don't want to make it really, really hard, and don't try to do it all at once. You can start small. Start with one tiny step. Wake up 1 minute earlier, 5 minutes earlier. Make sure to make it accessible and make it as easy as possible so that you start at the level that's guaranteed success. Make your success inevitable. Finally, make it satisfying. You want to do something, and when it's satisfying, you will start to stick to it every single day. Find an accountability partner, get someone to toot your horn. Praise yourself, get that level of accomplishment, because when you do, your success mechanism is going to want more and more and more and more and more. So those are tips from James's book. Those are very high level tips. So when changing a habit, make sure it is obvious, make sure it's attractive, make sure it's easy, and make sure it's satisfying. And again, before you just go into diving into habits, I want you to take that time to really craft the vision of your life, to identify who you want to be in your life. And I want to extend an opportunity to you to attend our vision casting workshop. We've done this several times. We weren't going to run it for a couple months. We had a few people that were like, we need it, and we want it on a Saturday. So we changed our schedule. We are adding another vision casting workshop on Saturday, the 18th, I believe, of June. Have to double check that date, but that weekend. So yes, Saturday, the 18th of June from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. We've already had people register. You guys are literally like the first ones to hear about it. So if you do want to create that vision for your future, join us in the workshop. Ultimately, it really does boil down to you knowing yourself better than anyone else and you taking responsibility for you. So you were born to turn your dreams into vivid reality. And there's nothing more that I would love than for you to make that happen. So register for our vision casting workshop. Many people have been back 2, 3, 4, 5 times, because as soon as you start clarifying your vision, you're going to want to make it even more and more and more crystal clear. So if it's something you haven't done in the last 3 to 6 months, make sure to come back as well. Oh, beautiful. Tanya's just popped. Tanya, if you can pop a link in the chat, that would be incredible. This is a fantastic workshop. We would love to see you there. And we are going to be live. It's absolutely free, and it's how you can turn your dreams into vivid reality. So enjoy changing your habits, shift your approach, and really start to find the juice in your life. As soon as you start making your life juicy and allowing your life to be juicy, you're going to walk away and look at yourself, look at your life through a whole new lens. So, with that, I am signing off. I have a couple more meetings today. I am writing my book, my Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away book. So, stay tuned for that. It is coming very, very soon. Bye for now.